So, oh my god, it is a snake, and it is crawling, and it's crazy, and I thought that thing was dead. This is this is the excitement of my day. Really, by the freaking water, and I see a snake. Okay, so previous to this, I was on the Ben Cardin Pier, dedicated to Ben Cardin for his commitment to helping children. And I kicked myself off of the pier because I feel awkward recording these things just in public or in general. But the purpose is, you know, besides advocating for myself and being seen and being heard, is to like watch out. Make sure a snake's not gonna come and bite me in my foot. You know, like, I think the purpose in transitioning everything that I've ever learned about the world, you know, including, you know, being a production assistant, working on a pilot, working with camera people who, you know, record it like for the real world, and, you know, sitting in press conferences across from people who had MTV at Clinton's Global Initiative. I think it was the Body Shop, and it was an anti-human trafficking conference. That was the one that I think that the head of MTV sat on. Maybe it was maybe it had to do with Polaris. I don't know. To transition all that experience into something for myself, and or for my needs, and or for a purpose that I think is more meaningful. And I think that purpose is, you know, the underserved, like, clients of lawyers, of therapists, of psychiatrists, of social workers who truly do need more help, because healing comes, or I think the ability to heal happens when that's given from like a place of love. And I think about my own life, and I think that I will have the opportunity to work with human trafficking victims. And no, I'm not going to adopt them all. I'm not going to adopt any of them. I'm going to set that limit for myself before I start. Because as a preschool teacher, that's something that happens a lot. Preschool teachers adopt their students, and that's happened twice. That's a circumstance that has happened twice within the preschool teachers that I've met. They've adopted their kids, they've adopted their students. The students were from different backgrounds than the teachers, and I don't know if that was like necessarily, you know, there's a concept of inclusion, and I think that I think in an ideal world, the trauma that people face would not define their life outcomes. And, you know, like, as a person, want to be competent enough to say, like, hey, like, here's this kid's fine. The kid had the best of the therapy of anything, and at the end of the day, this kid's probably going to be more well behaved, more well adjusted than people's own biological children, because people have different parenting abilities. And thank God, because, like, how else would kids from different backgrounds, really, like different socioeconomic backgrounds, thrive and succeed in this world if love wasn't a factor, and a factor in the success of somebody. Like, basically, a child is well loved, you know, therefore, if they don't have the best of clothes, the best of education, the best of this, the best of that, their world will still embrace them, and a childhood should not determine an adulthood. And yeah, like I might get really bitchy at some point in my life, and I don't know if it's ever will be confirmed, but, you know, be like, oh, and by the way, you know, this person who had this success had this trauma. And, you know, and I think that's important. And I think adversity, for people to know that, you know, the world has so many different, like, opportunities, so many different learning experiences. I'm looking for that snake because I thought it was dead. It wasn't moving, and then it started moving, and it freaked me out a little bit. But anyway, the world has so many different opportunities and different paths that, you know, like, life is really infinite. And as a person, you know, a little bitchy, but I love my life, and I love learning, and I love seeing the world, and I love being my own person. And, you know, I love learning how to do things and setting goals for myself. And, you know, I want to be like a good woman. I think I am a good woman, but I still feel like a girl. And I was a good girl, so, you know. But you know, that's a goal, and that's an art. It's an art to be basically the silent strength within a community. And, you know, women, no matter like the economic, no matter like the race, no matter all of these things, you know, since the dawn of history, like, they've been kind of what makes the world go. Like, egos may push advancements, but advancements don't happen, risks don't happen without stability. And, you know, that's something that I love about my life, and I love to learn. And, you know, I want people who face trauma to do better, you know, than me. Like, not looking for a lot in life. And, you know, I want, you know, these people to be the people who, you know, cure cancer, and the people who, you know, figure out what's going on with our space travel, and the people who, you know, make the scientific advancements, but do it within balance and without love, without stability. Like, what balance could someone, you know, possibly balance their own intelligence by? And I think all those things will happen, and I want people to be included. You know, like, this country still hasn't addressed slavery. You know, I found out maybe a fourth of my ancestry, you know, was from the oppressive, not the oppressed class within America. And, you know, maybe I can be whatever to racist people, be like, oh, you know, it's possible to, you know, acknowledge a crime and acknowledge one's blood relation, you know, to history without necessarily perpetuating that. And yeah, so it's gonna be 10 minutes. It's gonna take forever to upload, but, you know, like, basically, if there's 27 million, you know, slaves, and there's probably more, and it, like, slavery is like, it's like a ring on exploitation, because there's different types of oppression, there's different types of labor exploitation, there's different types of like economic and educational, like, bottlenecking. And, you know, so it's really, there's more people oppressed in the world than 27 million. But I don't want this idea of hate to basically stay within a society, to have structural violence and oppressive policies and just even speech, oppressive speech against people for years, you know, like for like 400 years, like as in the case of the United States. You know, who knows what's going on in the other world, you know, like who knows what's going on in the other parts of the world, why, you know, people don't have whatever promise, whatever. I don't want to say, not trying to get anybody in trouble, trying not to tape what's around me. Let's see if I can transition this. All right. I feel like I'm close to snake, but anyway, and you know, like, who knows how many people are oppressed, or have faced, you know, like sexual trauma, or have been exploited, or any of that, and they, you know, never talk about it until they become crazy powerful people. Not me. If I have power, there's something, I mean, I have the power of the truth, but, you know, people are scared of lawsuits. Like, there's no reason for me to be looked at in any of those ways, other than being a teenager, that overgrown teenager is how I describe myself and how I describe my healing. Going through a tantrum because of pain, because of trauma, because of it all. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if, you know, once therapy and inclusion happens, you know, I guess how people will define even their need or their life or their experience. But, you know, I don't know if, you know, society will put an asterisk by their name. I don't know. But, you know, it's obviously going to be better than the circumstance in the world right now, where there's dynamics of that have, like, hindered inclusion, that have hindered, you know, just like energy flow between the rights of the victims and, like, you know, the egos of the oppressed, or the worries of the oppressed, or the oppressed being blinded. You guys do get that benefit of the doubt. But this thing is really long again, so I'm gonna stop this and maybe start writing. Like, start writing this stuff out before I tape myself, so I'm like an idiot. But I'm gonna stop this.